Today I'm ranking new rideable creatures and vehicles in Extinction Ascended. As always, comment what you want to see next, and if you like the video, like or subscribe. It helps me know you guys like these types of videos. At number 10 in last place we have the Scout. This thing in PvP is relatively useless, especially after getting any kind of flyer. The Scout's main ability is recon, so you can fly it around. While scouting out the area, you can also ping things, but you can't aggro creatures, so I guess it kind of has a use to lure any unwanted creatures away. I also read that this can be super useful in the tech cave on the island, but I haven't tried this out, and it's an extinction list. In PvP, I can see this being useful for scoping out raids or watching tames, or even in a raid defense, seeing what's coming at you. Maybe it could be higher, but I mostly play PvE, so it's not very useful to me. In the wild, they're mostly passive, and they will just get enforcers to attack you when you attack any kind of wildlife, but I haven't had this happen yet in ASA, so it might be kind of broken. To craft one of these, you can go into any city beacon and just put in the materials. In ASA, I'm pretty sure they're all level 1, so yeah, I'm not going to dwell on this too much. That's the Scout. At number 10, we have the new Warland rigs. Now, granted, this might be because I haven't used them very much recently, but the new Wasteland vehicles that released with Bobsled Tales 3 are a welcome rework to any vehicle previously added in ARC. The garage allows you to customize any part between the three vehicles and make an awesome custom experience. Each component adds a different effect or advantage. Some make you slower and more tanks, while some make you faster and agile, but weaker. The only problem is that it's very expensive to make the garage, as you're also going to need the Mega Lab to create the new element infused gas. To power the lab, you're going to need element. So it's a mid to late game item pretty much. The vehicles also come in different qualities, and by doing an OSD, you can get better quality vehicle components than you normally would with just crafting them more separately. The vehicle's driving mechanics have been reworked, and they work a lot better than they used to be, but they still have a couple of minor issues. But with that said, they're a lot more fun to drive around. Next, you have the gas bags. Gas bags are a new utility tame in a way. They allow you to transport a bunch of materials because of their high weight stat, so it makes metal runs or wood runs or anything else pretty easy. The gas bag can be found anywhere in the wasteland pretty much, or around the city in the wasteland. They're a knockout team, but they will fly away as soon as you shoot them, so a trap is probably the best idea. Gas bags are more vulnerable to torpor in their belly, but with a trap you don't really have to worry about this. The gas bag breathes in a bunch of air, and then you can leap and gain altitude and speed until he runs out of breath. But then be sure to jump off before he hits the ground, or he'll definitely die. He also has a blow attack, pushing away nearby creatures. Overall, not a must-have tame, but pretty useful, I suppose. The gas bag saddle is unlocked at level 43 and requires, you guessed it, the same as most of the other extinction creatures. Next, we have the Armadoggo at number 9. The Armadoggo was a cool new creature from Bobsled Tales 3, and it introduced an entirely new mechanic to tame. The Armadoggo is practically immortal as well, which is kind of cool. That's right, you don't have to worry about losing your new best buddy, because once it takes too much damage, it just burrows into the ground and will reappear as soon as this timer goes away. The Armadoggo has a few new saddles with a few different effects, but first you have to craft the basic one unlocked at level 21. This one acts as a stronger spyglass, this one feeds you, this one heals you, this one allegedly makes you faster, this one keeps his inventory when he burrows away, and finally this one does damage back to an attacking enemy. The tame for this is super simple. You just drop raw meat or mutton near it and it will sniff out and begin to eat it. Once you've done that, you've tamed the new dog. Just be aware that it will attack any creature you bring near it. The Armadoggo is more of a novelty tame, but I love that they added this to the game. Coming up next, we have the Gotcha. The Gotcha is a great creature to have, but it is kind of a weird creature. So do you need a Gotcha? Well, yes, kind of. But will it help you fight anything on the map? Maybe a dodo, but that's about it. What makes this creature actually good is that it produces crystals of a bunch of different items, including element dust and black pearls in the rare slot. This means it's the easiest way to get any resource you need by simply converting stone into these crystals. Owl pellets are the best food to use when passive taming these weird little fellas. The attack are pretty pathetic and it doesn't do much damage. They also become sad after being damaged and will produce less of whatever the resource you selected was. Access the radio wheel to select what resource you want the gacha to produce. They also have a chance to give you higher quality loot depending on the crafting skill. They can give you blueprints or weapons, things like that. The gacha will also become upset if there is more than one gacha of the opposite gender of any gacha of the same gender. So they're pretty sensitive. That's pretty much it for the gacha though. The saddle is unlocked at level 38 and it uses the same resources as all the other creatures. Next we have the Enforcer. The Enforcer is a great creature or robot for ARC because its main feature is that it does 4 times the damage to corrupted creatures, which is actually insane for traveling through the wasteland. You can decimate the local wildlife population with these. Oh yeah, and it can teleport. It also has an EMP attack that I think makes the defense units weaker, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Enforcers are only craftable in a city terminal or a tech replicator. Now the only way to get a blueprint for this guy is by killing one and picking up the blueprint it drops. The quality of the blueprint is based on the level of the enforcer you kill, and crafting skill can boost the level of your crafted enforcer even more. But just a warning, the Ascendant ones are insanely expensive, and in my opinion, the Mastercraft ones are better. At number 6, we have the Mana Garmer. The Mana Garmer, or as I'm going to call it, the Mana, is a super mobile kind of flyer with a super strong set of attacks versus the obvious one, which is Breath Attack, which I use all the time. It does a good amount of damage based on its melee stat, and if you can get the melee stat high enough, this thing's an absolute unit. The next is its Swipe, which isn't really super high damage, but it's a really fast attack, making it much better than it should be. But the main point of interest for this creature is the way it moves around and zips around the map. In the air, you can move quickly in any direction, and it can spring forward by clicking the main attack while in the air. This creature paired with Volanosaurs can make the lower level OSDs like yellow or blue an absolute breeze. Currently the mana is really broken, and when you're trying to tame it, it'll just get stuck in place, slowly floating up, so it makes it really easy to knock out. When this is fixed, however, as always, check out Captain Fat Dog for the best traps on YouTube. I use his traps for absolutely everything. Once knocked out, feed exceptional kibble or raw mutton, which is pretty easy to find in the snow biome, to be honest. And the saddle for this beast at level 66, needing, you guessed it, the same as all the other ones. Next we have the Dreadnoughtus. The Dreadnoughtus is the brand new Extinction Dino, and the dossier says it's a Titan killer, and it means it. This beast has an insane amount of health and does a ton of damage to the Titans because of its Titan killer ability. The Dreadnoughtus also has a massive platform saddle that you can build and literal castle on, and it's back mounted with cannons. You can also use catapults or whatever else you can think of on the back of this thing. The Dreadnoughtus also has a cannon attack with acid-covered cannonballs, but right now, like a couple other things in this game, the aiming is kind of broken. It does do a decent amount of damage if you can hit it. It also has an element cannon in its neck, which I mean, that's pretty insane. To tame this crazy creature, you're going to need element just to get its attention, and then you're going to have to lead it to an element vein, an alpha element vein if you want to get the max levels out of it. Complete the element node without the Dreadnoughtus shield taking any damage or its shield being out, just to get a perfect tame. To unlock the saddle for this guy, you're going to need to get level 100, so it's definitely an endgame tame, and it requires 300 cementing paste, 1200 hide, 250 silica pearls, 800 fiber, and 650 metal just for the primitive one. Next we have the Volanosaur. The Volanosaur is really early to mid-game tame, especially if you can manage to get one with high melee and a decent amount of stamina. It has the unique ability to shoot needles or spines out of its head, allowing for it to be a good medium range tame. Volanosaur also has a decent swipe attack and a pretty much useless kind of flailing attack, but you really want this for its distance attack. Volanosaur can be put into turret mode, which makes an effective mount for an OSD or an element vein. As you level the melee, Volanosaur will do more damage in its turret mode per shot, which is why you really want to focus on the melee and stamina of this guy. You can also ground flyers by shooting them with your spikes, and if you're insane, you can tame Titans by shooting the corrupted nodes, although I would not recommend this. It takes a lot of shots. With Volanosaur, it's not very quick, and it's also a little lacking in the health department, hurting its rank in this list. Overall, it's a pretty solid creature. The Velo Saddle is unlocked at level 27 though, and it only requires 150 chitin, 185 fiber, 350 hide, like most of the other creatures on this list. Number 3, I have the Snow Owl, and I was debating putting it higher, but because of the top 2, I don't think I could. The Snow Owl has a couple of unique abilities, the first being its obvious healing ability, and its stamina directly impacting how long you can heal a dino in a single burst of stamina. This ability alone would place this creature promptly near the top of this list, but its thermal vision allows you to even find the smallest creature pretty easily wherever you are on the map. Snow Owl also has a dive effect that allows for it to be even faster if you can use it properly, which I can't really do to show you, but this is kind of what it's supposed to look like. The Snow Owl also produces owl pellets, which when you can feed to the gotchas, or increase productions on those crystals we talked about earlier. This, in my opinion, is probably the best flyer on this map. To tame your own nocturnal buddy, you'll simply have to knock it out, although its dive bomb attack can make this kind of annoying. Once it's knocked out, feed it superior kibble or raw mutton as its preferred food, and then you'll unlock the saddle for this guy level 61, requiring, you guessed it, 150 chitin, 185 fiber, and 350 hide. Now at number 2, which is going to shock some of you, the Titans. The Titans are essential to beating Extinction, well, most of them. The Forest Titan is a force to be reckoned with its vine attack and its sheer health. The best way to take him down is with Gigas, Cartridge, or the brand new menacing Dreadnoughtus, my personal favorite. The Desert Titan is also a powerhouse, but this time in the sky, which makes it even harder to take down, especially with its flock that will continue to attack you as you get near the Titan. The Titan also has a tail attack, which means you can't hide behind it or underneath it for too long. It even has a defense against you getting on its back with a crazy barrel roll ability. And the next we have my personal favorite, the Ice Titan. This menace is stronger and hits harder than the other two Titans, especially with its ground pound and freezing ability. The Ice Titan also has the best mobility, taking leaps and Olympic level high jumps around the boss arena. While the Titans are monsters, you will need to kill each 3 times and then tame 2 out of the 3 of them to face off against the Beta and Alpha King Titan. The 2 Titans most of you will want to tame are of course the most difficult to tame, the Ice Titan and the Forest Titan. We don't really need the Desert Titan. Sorry, buddy. One important thing to note is that these Titans can spawn at 3 different variants, Gamma, Beta, and Alpha, with the difficulties as you expect they would be. The Desert Titan can easily be tamed with a Quetzal with metal foundations. Once you're fighting it, get the Titan to strike itself with lightning in these 3 spots and then it will be tamed. The Titan isn't necessary for any of the King Titans, but it doesn't hurt to bring some more firepower. Next is the Forest Titan, which can be tamed more effectively by using a mech with a back cannon, shooting his corrupted nodes until both arms fall off, and then you should have the one that appears on his chin. Finally, the most important, the Ice Titan. I recommend that you ensure you have an Alpha variant, as this is your best chance against the King Titans. This one is a little more difficult to tame because it jumps around like a maniac, but it has roughly the same process as the Forest Titan, shooting 2 nodes on its ankles or shoulders and then 1 on its chest. The chest is the most annoying one to hit as his chin sticks out and the horns, so you have to make sure you don't hit any of those. Each Titan can be claimed by simply walking up and hitting E after you've done this on PC, A on Xbox, or X on PlayStation. All the Titans come pre-equipped with a saddle, and outside of single player, they cannot be healed. And finally we have the mech. The mech is a must-have creature slash vehicle for Extinction. Not only is it a great mount for taking on OSDs or just a long-range beast, this thing is also the most effective way to tame a Titan. But first you need to craft one, and they are dropped by the OSDs, in my experience a red OSD. They're pretty expensive to craft, but once you have one they have a ton of uses. In the drops you also get items like the cannon or the planetary shield, which can be attached to the mech and give it more versatility. The cannon is what you need to tame the Titans, so as long as you're accurate and you have a good cannon, you should be fine to tame them. The only reason the mech is higher than the Titans is because of this feature. That cannon is the best, and armed with a ton of cannon shells, taming the Titan is the easiest it's going to get. This is why it's higher than the Titans on this list. Just watch out for the overheating, and the mech is a suitable mount for any player. Oh, and this thing called Mommy is dropped by the Beta King Titan, will allow you to combine 4 mechs, creating an Alpha King Titan killer. Thank you for watching this list, and if you liked, let me know. If I should do something different, let me know. Comment what list you want to see next. And if we can manage to hit 1,000 subscribers, which I know is a lot by the end of 2024, I want to give out a copy of Lost to Colony to one of you guys just to say thank you. So, that's it for this one. Thanks, and we'll see you again soon.